We have a very special guest today. Her name is Mia. She is a force of nature. She's an intuitive soul guide, a boxer, a raw vegan, and multidimensional creator, devoted to truth, embodiment, and liberation. Born in a small village in Germany and forged through elite sport, deep soul initiation, and the wild unknown, she now walks the path of the mystic and the warrior, guiding others back to the wisdom of their bodies, their fire, and their sacred remembering. Mia, thank you so much for joining us today, a gorgeous goddess.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited. We have been planning that for a couple of weeks. And
We have been. Yeah, and our initial chat there was so much energy and it was so fiery, and like I cannot wait for this conversation because we have so much to chat about. So let's start. We do. Short men in Spain,
yeah, I was just about to say, okay, ladies, we're gonna drop in right into the chat, okay? Like we were talking about, sexuality in men, and because I have left a long-term relationship before I left New Zealand over a year ago. Coming back to Europe, I originally am from Germany. Obviously, I was born in Europe, then moved to New Zealand when I was about 25, 24. I wasn't planned, but it happened to be that way. And of course, New Zealand island, it's very limited. And just my own perception, my own experience, even though I had two long-term relationships there, in general, the variety of men is limited, wasn't really like, you know, like I don't know how to describe it, but I was missing a little bit of flair or some sort of certain traits, I believe. And of course, then I was looking forward, okay, I'm going back to Europe. And then I have never lived in Spain. Not that this was my primary intention, but, there was this little like, something to look forward to. Who knows? Some men in Spain, right? Latinos. And wow. The disappointment was a little bit bigger because they are very short. I'm so sorry. And I know, Hilary, you're way taller than me.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't, okay, just to dial it back, I have not met
Started.
many men, but like they're good looking, but they're like a little bit too short. I'm so sorry. I don't want to be mental or superficial. That my personal preference is that my partner or any man I engage with is taller. I don't know why. I know we talked about. No, I know why we talked about that. It's like a thing of like safety. Like he can take care of me. He can carry me. I know it's stupid. It sounds silly because like a superficial. But why I'm sharing this is that I also own that. I own this, okay? I'm gonna be very honest. I cannot imagine dating a man who's shorter than me. So
Yeah.
that's my right here, right there. There's no hiding.
And you're
Go
allowed
up
to
for
have that expectation. You're allowed to have that criteria, that standard. Like that's okay. Men are allowed to say, "Well, I only date supermodels." We're allowed to say that we want to date men taller than us, right? Like we're allowed to have those expectations. And true, it goes with the safety, right? Like I want to feel safe. I want to date a masculine man who makes me feel safe and cute and petite and feminine, right? Like there's a lot that goes into feeling feminine with that too. So girl, I'm so on board. And I have been to Spain. I was married at the time, so I wasn't really like aware of the men or height or anything. But now that you say it, they were short.
you would- I mean, honestly, what I love though is their features. They have most of the men look really beautiful. I love their features. They look very I wouldn't say okay, maybe feminine, but they just take care of themselves. That's what I really
Yeah.
love about being drawn to dark features if I
Yeah.
about preferences, and so that I just love that about them. Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, and
Yeah.
to be honest, I haven't connected with too many people as such because I have had very much an off-grid lifestyle for a year where I was not too much around around people, but then times where there I'm like, okay, I think I like the forest.
So
So
tell us a little bit about that though, because you went from New Zealand to Spain, and what drew you to Spain, and you were living off grid for a year, and like, what does your life look like now?
okay, so I was living basically when I moved to New Zealand. That was meant to be like an OE experience, right? I was still in a relationship in Germany with my first boyfriend that I met when I was 17. And then, but I always wanted to go overseas. And so after I finished my master's in sports science, I decided I'm going to New Zealand. I didn't know much about the country. Me didn't even do research. Just said, yeah, the flight, let's go. And I went. I was meant to go for 7 months only, and my time was waiting for me. I actually asked him, should we go? I was already, my adventurous part within me wanted to just go, but he didn't want to. And then obviously when I was in New Zealand, I realized, okay, I need to stay here. I fell in love with the country and with a man as well at that time. And that led me on this journey. And then of course I had my 12 years. It was very much the transformative, lots of experiences, lots of challenges, brought me back to my essence, like literally where I got, like through awakenings, found my way
Yeah.
back to gifts and all these things. And why then Spain? Well, I always have been drawn to the Mediterranean and always wanted to go to Spain already when I was a teenager, although I was raised also when I lived in Germany, never made it here. And then because I think in 2003, yeah, my brother got married and I went back to Germany and also had 1 week in Spain. And that was the point for me where I knew I'm going to move here. I remember when I was 14, I made the statement to my mom, statements. I said, I'm going to marry an Italian man because they
Ooh.
all amore, amore, amore. I had never met an Italian man. I was 14 and my mom was like, okay. So cutting that back. So I've always felt drawn to this, Mediterranean. And then basically I made my dream come true. And how it happened, though, of course, I had a lot of challenges on the side and a lot of changes. You can imagine leaving New Zealand. I left everything that was familiar to me, my people, boxing, of course, my past relationship, although that was all like,
Mhm.
choice for the betterment. But there was a lot going on in a country where I don't know anybody, I don't know the language. Interestingly enough, subconsciously, I was trying to always look around when I was for places. Oh, is there a boxing gym? Can I reach people? I was trying to um, keep some old part of me alive. I guess that
Yeah.
was and very natural, right? That's what we should do. But
Yeah.
the divine had a greater plan for me,
She
which
always
was
says. Hmm.
always that at this time for my ego it was absolutely excruciating and it was like really hard to go through this transformation and letting go of everything, the whole red tape things of course that go
Yeah.
way in that. But I let the part where I constantly off grid. I was either in areas where I couldn't go to a gym or like a boxing gym, well, not by foot. And sometimes I run
Mm.
and keep one way, or I had to run to the shop and stuff, which I enjoy doing because I love to be active. But
Yeah.
I also spend a lot of time, like in the forest and mini houses, stuff like that. And I learned to really, I understand. I understood. I learned to understood the reason why, because I had to
Mm.
really strip off everything that I was so used to in order to really tap into my deeper inner knowing and to let
Yes.
up. And also because we all know that 2025 and 2024 even were big years energetically, lots going on. And because I am so sensitive, I'm medium as well, and I connect with the divine,
Yeah.
so deeply, easily,
Mhm.
that I had to be in this where I don't feel as much.
Yeah.
We connect from that
Hmm.
divine.
Hmm.
I imagine now throughout that time when a lot of people felt it, there's lots going on, and I go
Yes.
through deep transformation. I wouldn't have been able to handle my nervous system already was
Yeah.
on overdrive, and my body was very much in demand and was really struggling at times.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned it sometimes, healing looks like you're going to spend the whole day crying in bed. And that there, I remember that saying that, and part of that, and I wasn't used to it, or for me, my body was craving rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go through transformation and healing, you just need to sleep a lot more.
Yes.
Like my whole routine changed. I wouldn't eat the normal food that I usually eat. Sometimes I want all day fasting. My body wants to fast, and I know I understand that because then like energy can move much faster through the body. I would fast the whole day and keep it very light for the healing.
Yeah.
That's also part of my quantum embodiment, to understand the body when we
Yes.
do those things and really tune in. Of course, the mind would try to tell me, "Mommy, you need to eat. You need to train," and yeah, that was a whole thing. And of course, there were times when my ego would come in and be like, "Come on, Mia, now you should be showing everyone. Oh, I'm in Spain. There, I'm lying back." But that wasn't the case for the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
months or so. It was just the opposite about and moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I'm so glad you listened to your intuition in that too, because you literally removed yourself from all of the chaos, all the external input, because you are so intuitively sensitive and energetically sensitive, right? And so knowing that so much was changing and you felt all of this going on, and you're like, this is my own transformation, and my body's telling me that I need to slow down. I need to take myself out of the chaos and out of these environments. That's huge, because I think as women especially, we get pushed further into it, right? And a lot of times we're so disconnected from our intuition that we step more into the chaos, and we get busier and we add more things onto our plate. And it's like, well, I don't really know what that means, and I'm not going to listen to that. I'm just going to go make myself busy over here so I don't have to think about it. And so really you changed your entire life to facilitate your transformation, to facilitate that energetic change. And like, that's huge. And so we want to know more about like your boxing journey and your awakening and how those work together.
Yeah, well, that's still a big part, because basically I started boxing in New Zealand. Well, I've always been an athlete. I felt drawn to martial arts when I was actually young, but my parents, well, where I grew up, basically, when I say I grew up, you can imagine like one street, 10 houses, 60 people, 5 house. Yes, this does exist. It's like that.
Such a different
And
life, right? Such a different way of life.
yeah, I'm so glad I made it out of there.
Mhm.
No, but because I was always connected to nature. But anyway, I am the youngest of seven siblings, and my parents were always incredibly busy, also with the community and sports. So there was also no opportunity for me to do that. So basically, I did different sports, and then in New Zealand, I got connected to boxing, and there was no intention of like, oh, I'm gonna, compete or anything like that. It wasn't my intention. But first partner with my first trainer, something just shook up within me, and I felt more connected to myself than ever before. There are so many, parts and components to that, but most importantly was I was having a space where I can truly express myself, and even anger, especially anger, because I feel like emotion that is so has such a negative connotation. And I'm not saying again and again, I always mention that, like, I know it's the picture of the outside world, boxing is all about anger. Opposite, you're in the flow. It's actually also you're tapping a lot into your feminine in that space too.
Girl, it's the feminine rage. It's the suppression. It's the shame. It's the bullshit that we have tolerated for like generations. Like, that's our maternal line, our ancestors, that we are still processing that feminine rage. And so to have an outlet for that, like a safe, healthy outlet to get that out, I love it. I love it. Continue.
I was more in a flow state, more relaxed than with anything else. And I obviously was then able to connect more deeper to myself, and then started to even feel more connected to my father, who passed when I was 13. Was first, with my sports. And that was amazing. I mean, I cried so much. There was so much to it. It wasn't just like full and body of everything, right? And of course, then also there were unhealthy patterns that I would condition myself to, yeah, like with every journey, like really like like ignoring the of my body's needs, especially when I started to compete, because I was pushing through. And yes, any athlete who would listen to that right now, there is a part where you have to, where you stretch yourself. But I completely gave my power away to my coaches, to the system of competition, and of course that's my journey, and that's what I did. But because I was so much in the system, my routine, training twice a day and all these kind of things, that it was so hard to get out. So basically, when I left New Zealand, look, if you would have told me you're not going to box for a year as such, I mean, I do my own shadow boxing and stuff, but not like that, what I was used to. I'm not going because I was so conditioned, fear of missing out. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure already in terms of like amateur boxing, because the cutoff age is 40. Amateur boxing, go the pathway of Commonwealth Games, Olympics, this kind of stuff. While it's professional boxing, well, you can do it whenever you feel like you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So that I literally start thinking about age before in any other case. I don't know my
Yeah.
age, to be,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that was the thing that needed to happen. I purely identified myself, which I didn't realize, but boxing was everything to me. And that was the thing going, that was excitement, right? The adrenaline,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
race, the unknown constantly. You unknown when you spar, when you fight, the fight response, the excitement, and like, oh, I have to overcome that, which is amazing. You get addicted to that. And everything else in my life, my relationship wasn't, where what I needed, the job, I was just coasting along, I was starting a little bit my business on the side. I was starting to, wake up.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
fully ready to jump in. And yeah, that was needed this year. Completely
Yeah.
being this was needed to actually see, to remember who I am, that there's so much more. Okay with the fact, okay, maybe boxing never, in that sense, competing may not ever happen again. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that, that I went through many ego deaths, many
Yes.
dark soul where I had to cry and really let this go because I was so attached to it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
now I feel like I'm more empowered than ever. And I realize I cannot go back to the old system. I cannot go back to one country, one gym for 6 years and do that. It's not possible. There's something different. There's
Yeah.
something that has been done before, and that needs to align with my soul needs. And do I know if that works? No, I don't know. But I'm gonna go for it. That's, and I love boxing, and I know that it will be a part of my life in some moment.
Love that boxing is what gives you like that joy and that passion, that fire for life, right? And that's what originally woke you up, because then you're like, wait a minute, I don't get the same feeling from my relationship, from my job. I'm not getting the activation and the excitement that I am in other areas of life that I am with this. And so, like, to experience that passion, because I think a lot of us don't experience that passion in anything, right? We don't
No,
have anything in our life that we love or that's exciting, or we can't wait to wake up to go do that during the day. I mean, most women are living the day today and don't have anything that really lights them up. And so to find that, and for that to literally like awaken your soul, and you're evolving with that, it starts to look different, right? That's not your sole purpose now, and you're going through a vision and you're growing your business and you're helping all of these women, right? So there's all of these other things tied into it, but still knowing that like that's what lit your soul up, girl. That's so cool.
yeah,
Yes.
it made
Whole
me,
journey. You wouldn't
you know,
expect that because boxing tends to be very masculine, right? And so for that to awaken your creation, like your abundance energy in your soul, right? And that's very feminine. So, girl, that was your feminine rage coming out.
that's why, my activated, so I'm starting to get tears in my eyes. I get goosebumps. This is what my soul put this out there. That's why I love how you said that, because that really sparked and fired up the feminine, because you are, empowers you, and in whatever shape or form you do boxing or but sport.
Yeah.
But this is so crucial. And now, like there are so many other things that get me out of bed, like the whole package, the multidimensional,
Yes.
like, and everything around it,
Yeah.
the embodiment, and completely understand that. And yeah, that we all have this warrior within us, and
Yes.
it empowers you and makes you feel confident,
Mm-hmm.
embracing it. The most important part is like one of my best friend, and she's also part of my, when I told her, because she has so much stored anger in the ear, also from her trauma, and which she wasn't conscious about. And obviously I can relate with my own story from childhood, that I said, just let it out, really,
Mm-hmm.
really lie and raw, and allow yourself to really embrace that. And it's so
Yes.
beautiful. Uh,
Yes.
whew,
Yeah.
just gets me all
Yeah.
fired up.
No, when we allow ourselves to process those emotions, to process the memories, all of that, you're not bottling it up anymore, right? You're letting it out, and then you can be free of that. Like, it's still something that happened in your life. It's still an experience, but it can become something that you've learned from, not something that you're still suppressing. And you're like, it's still in the back of your mind every day, and all of these emotions are bottled up. So being able to process that and then feel that, and then have more space for the things that are bringing you joy and abundance and passion. So
Mhm.
I love
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
So you're in Spain now, yes, and what does that look like for you? So you're growing your business, and tell us a little bit about what you help women do, what you help women work through.
So basically, it's always a reflection of me, right? What I have been through, and like your greatest challenge, and your trauma, if you want to call it trauma. I know the semantics are always a bit like overwhelming for some people,
Yeah.
but your biggest challenges are becoming your greatest gifts, and that's the whole. I go deeply into transformation, and I am, like having the quantum embodiment
Mm-hmm.
program transformation, what I do. That means like I address everything: physical body, the emotions, the mental body, and also the energetic body. And I tie everything into it. I use my gift to catch records, a medium. I can tune into your body cells, and I'm just like very with that. But at the same time, I also have these to help you design a body flow, help you with the nutrition and the emotions, because I have done this work too, all the shadow work over. I think I listened to this beautiful podcast with Bryn you had when she said like healing, then the forgiveness. I can so relate to that. I have a similar story like her with the brother, but also, sexual abuse, young, not for some time, but different. And as we know, we have like our soul signs up for that, and also growing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's all about what I'm bringing women, or I'm working also with men, is bringing people back, or people's souls, to their soul truth. It's all about empowering them to really tune into yourself and know that everything you're looking for is within you, to really remember who you are, because we are so quick in getting our power by outsourcing. And
Mm-hmm.
through learning to listen to your intuition, to your body, basically our soul is speaking to us through our body, and to really do an overall, like stock take. What is actually going on? How do I feel on a day-to-day basis? What is giving me energy? What is energy? And to truly realize soul purposes, and find this fire again, this spark. And like I'm an initiator. I would consider myself a sacred disruptor. I come really energy, but in a positive way. So we'll shake you up. And this is what
Oh,
it's meant to do. End goal is to fully empower you, that you no longer need anybody else really in your life. And
yeah.
then when you come to that place, when you feel that empowered, then go and seek a mentor, or
Mm-hmm.
like a new, whatever. You really empowered, and can use it as add-on, but truly realizing the full basis need is within you. And that's my journey, because I have done that in the past, so much, giving power away, understanding that there, like we have all our own soul rhythm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sacred disruptor. Oh my gosh. I love that phrase. I might start using that
Yes, of course,
that
please.
at home, and I'm like, oh man, I'm totally a sacred disruptor in a positive way. Like, I'm going to help you wake up to everything that you're settling for in life, everything that you're not meant for, right? And that there's this whole other reality that you could be living, this dream life that you can actually be living. And it takes that inner work, right? Which is exactly what you're doing with your clients. It's looking at the physical body, the mental body, the energetic body, the spiritual body, all of that combined is so powerful. Sacred disruptors. Yes. I feel like we need to start like a community of sacred disruptors now.
So there's another, and I know you will be part of that, which I'm starting with my soul sisters about own her, the woman, woman do. It's not just about choose her or be her, but
Yeah.
own her.
Mm-hmm.
Not from autistic perspective, but I feel like there's a different feel to it when you say, I own this, I own my boundaries, I own my body, I own my desires, I own my needs, my dreams, fears, everything. So that's for another conversation. But coming
That's
back to the body,
powerful. I love it. Yes.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
um, to the quantum embodiment, what I'm guiding actually to take some time. And that's a constant message that I'm putting out there. You see that, you would have seen it on social media, like spend time with yourself, get to know yourself, because the one person you spend the rest of your life with this lifetime
Yes.
is sure with you when you want to
Yes.
spend time with yourself and really tune in. Because what do I need today? What is my body? How's my energy? Like honestly, so many people are like, my mom is doing that, my neighbor is doing that, my best friend is doing that. I don't care right now. First,
Mm-hmm.
I do love my mom and I care, but first,
Yeah. Yeah.
look at yourself. What's going on here first? Tend to your own value, then start to go to the outside. And then once you start doing that, you have so much more energy for your day. You will actually have some direction and clarity,
Mm-hmm.
not so much, foggy. And you will completely also be able to cater to your needs of the body. This is where everything actually starts. That's where people
Yeah.
go off track, eat the wrong food or do the wrong things, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
where it
Yeah.
all starts. Yeah.
It does. It does. And I love the prioritizing yourself and spending time with yourself, because we truly are the only person that we're going to spend the rest of our life with. Like, that's us. That is the most important relationship that you will have. And yeah, I feel like we get so wrapped up in everybody else's needs and what everyone else is doing. And we forget that we can't give to anyone else until we fulfill ourselves, until we're giving to ourselves, until we're recharging, right? And so meeting our own needs, that's literally a priority. And I love that you start even the beginning of the day with that, right? How am I feeling? What are my needs today? What am I doing for myself today? And then everything else falls in line. And yeah, that's where we get off track with food and alcohol and bad habits and sex and all of these things that may be having a negative effect on our life. And then at the end of the day, we're like, well, I shouldn't have eaten all that. I should have gone to go do this for my body, but instead, I was wrapped up in, I don't know, the drama with my family. And so then I was emotionally eating, and then I was stressed, and then I didn't go to the gym, and it just, all of these habits stack up. So I love that you prioritize the body first. And especially in a lot of the divine feminine work, a lot of the coaching work, the body's not a big priority. Right? It's all about energy. It's about mindset and prioritizing ourselves, which is really important. But we need to include our body too. Our physical health is like paramount. The food you're putting into your body, your movement, like all of that affects your brain chemistry. All of that affects your hormones. All of that affects our energy during the day. So that's so important. Yeah.
Absolutely, girl. You bring me to a point because it's interesting because, like I said, your story is your purpose, your challenges, right? So I started very much focused on the body, my life, starting when I was 3 years old, swimming, all that stuff. So very much focused around the body,
Yeah.
going through all the traumas, going off track, developing the behaviors, pattern, alcohol, you name it, all that shebang.
All that shebang.
I think it's then slang.
Start referring to like past trauma as all that shebang.
Well, we don't have all day here to talk about,
I love
but
it. I love it. Yes.
basically then I started early going to therapy. When I was 19, 20, when I started studying, and then going into the emotions, right? Always then I got to a point, okay, that's cool, but there's something more. Then when I then went to back to when I went to New Zealand, then energetic, the other layer. And then, of course, I believe we all, when we awaken, get trapped in that, bypassing the body and just be here about nine and just work chakras and like the quantum, and forgetting that we're actually having a body and we're here for the human. And now the cycle is closing, bringing all back into the body,
Yes.
and it's very to put it all together because it's a beautiful part of it.
Yeah.
And especially me, and I realize that, and that's why I have this duality, this extreme, like, okay, being a medium, being so connected to the divine, being so sensitive, but then really being like a bulldozer, basically. Honestly, when I work out, I'm like a bulldozer, just my
Bulldozer.
energy.
Hell yeah.
And having fun with that. Because when I'm so empathetic and sensitive, and so my higher chakras are activated, very open, that I can easily forget my body. I can easily get to eat, prioritize everything, around me, not
Yeah.
my. That's why for me, my constant task, so to speak, focus is to my body. I just have to do it because I still have those moments, like you just said,
Yeah.
something like good in that moment
Mm-hmm.
serving me. And I want to mention that this is important to know for people who are listening about being perfect, because
Yeah.
nobody's perfect,
No.
humans, but having the awareness. Okay, you know what? Today I overate because I was an emotional void. Why was it happening?
Yeah.
Because I prioritize myself. Have I actually tuned in today how I really feel? No, because
Yes.
it's my partner first. I put my performance to the outside world, and that's happening to all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then be like, hey, what can I change? There's
Yeah.
only small those
Yeah.
scarf, like it doesn't have to be a big, ritual. You don't have to sit in a cave, 8 hours a day. You just have to find something that suits you, something that helps you to, and it looks very different for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing because people think that the prioritizing yourself, the energetics, the meditation, all of that will take like hours out of your day. And it's a short amount of time. It could be 5 to 10 minutes that makes a world of change. It can be 5 to 10 minutes that sets your energy for the day, that sets your mindset, right? That helps you push all of the nonsense and all the drama aside. So I feel like that's so important. And then there was something else you said. Oh, we forget about our 3D body. So we have our 5D energetics and we're up here talking about the spiritual realm. And then we forget that we are still living a human experience in our 3D body. And so much of the information out there and the coaching out there, it's all very woo woo, right? And it doesn't tie it back to our actual experience here and like the day to day, because we're going to be tired. We're going to eat things that probably aren't in our best interest. We're not always going to get the movement that we need. We're not always going to get the sleep we need. And it's so true because it's not about being perfect. Nobody's perfect. I
No.
3 of those 5 things yesterday and I feel great. Like it's fine,
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah. And it's taking that inventory of yourself every day because that changes too. That changes depending on where you're at in your cycle. That changes depending on what's going on in the world. Like everything has an impact on that. So taking that daily inventory.
I love that you said it changes, your needs change. For example, what I just said, it doesn't have to be hours. However, when I was going through this intense transformation from last July, when I moved to Spain, the first 6 months, I would say 4, 5, 6 months, I literally took the time to a journal. Was my priority in the journal and do energy work however long it needs, and sometimes it's 3 hours, but I had the luck to do that in that moment, and
Yeah.
I needed it, and that was needed for me to get all the out. And I was basically, I put myself through my own speed, and I was doing it by myself, right? I could have probably accelerated that if I would have been in a community somewhere where people do that, and she, is expanded and like amplified thing. But my soul chose to do it by itself because that's what part of my involvement, and it wasn't pretty. Oh no, especially those soul ego death, not soul death, ego
Yeah.
death.
Yeah.
It was horrific. And then you can think, oh my gosh, something wrong with me, especially when you're in a different country. Shouldn't I be out in Spain dancing salsa instead? It's the total opposite, right? I'm in a cave, basically.
Oh my gosh. Let's
Like
let's talk about that real quick though. So you moved to Spain, you have this dream life in Spain, and your soul has a different plan. You are going to go through many soul deaths, many ego deaths, and you literally put yourself in a spiritual, energetic cave for 6 months, journaling, doing the inner work, doing energy work when you were thinking, I should be out, I'm in Spain, I should be out dancing with all the attractive, somewhat short men. But you have this dream reality, and instead of just doing that because that's what we're told to do, that's what you envisioned, you stepped back and you said, no, this is what I actually need in this time, and I'm not going to let the outside world pressure me into what I should be doing. Girl, like I love to travel and I love experiences, and I don't know if I would have like been able to cocoon myself like that, the amount of like willpower that took to just say, this is what my soul needs right now, and this is what I'm doing. Girl.
oh, it was hard. It makes me emotional right now because I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever expressed it publicly like that. At first, I was messaging, and that I actually went through some major, challenges, of course. And one of my biggest areas was, and like in time, my finance. I had moments. I shared that. Yeah, literally had moments where I had €1 in my account because I gave it all. I invested everything in starting my business and booking the flight, having my business coach, $1,000 courses. I basically in my own stuff, maxed out credit cards, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
That's what I needed. So there were moments I literally
Yeah.
know until I have my next meal. Thank God there are a lot of like and orange trees here, and I'm raw vegan. So as a raw vegan, porridge. I'm very good at that, and I'm very much, pulled into that. Plus, my body was craving a lot of fasting and detoxing at that time. However, of course, it wasn't comfortable at all, and I had moments where, many moments where I had to literally call my mom or my best friends, and I said, "Sorry, I have to ask for some money to buy some food
Yeah.
and get some work, at the local school and stuff like that."
Yeah.
A time where it was really go through a thing. You're not when you go, you're not exactly in creation mode. You are in fight or flight. You just want to
Yes.
curl up.
Yes.
You're like, Mama, help, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
But that is
then,
so brave for you to lean into that though. Not knowing where your money was coming from, not knowing where the next meal was coming from, but knowing that that was what you had to be doing. I mean, most of us wouldn't be able to listen to that inner message and trust that everything was going to work out for us. We'll be like, well, I can't be doing this. I have to go do this. I have to go get a job. I have to go be making all this money. I have to build my business right now. And that's another thing, because a lot of people put themselves in that situation and then they're building a business out of fear and pain rather than working through that first, knowing that everything is aligned, it's going to work out for you, and then building from there. But like you said, like you weren't in creation mode, you were in fight or flight. And so to process through that is also incredibly empowering, and to be able to share that journey and that story with all of the women that you're working with, right? That's so huge. And to know that you have already walked that path. Like you did that, and it was probably, I don't know, one of the most difficult times of your life, I would say. Like, Girl.
Yeah. I, I had like something similar when I was in New Zealand for a short time, but definitely that was definitely more challenging because I had a greater awareness,
Mhm.
which sometimes like a pain in the butt, right?
Yes.
Um, but because I kind of know you have to go through this, that's why I have this confidence about. People say to me, you're so chilled, like when I don't, like they ask me, for example, like, what I say is like, I totally, totally learned to trust myself and the
Yes.
divine,
Yes.
knowing that with absolute 100% certainty, I can tell you that everything will always work out for you. It may not look like, and exact not what you expect. But and it was 4 4. I said that. Here we go, divine. Yeah. It is definitely what you have to go through. And yes, there were times I was so many times on my knees. Okay, God, now there is what more do I have to let go? Because it
Yeah.
felt like I'm going through the same shit again. Finances, right?
Yeah.
But I always remember, like, when people told me, you're not going through, may appear you go through the same thing, but it's another layer, another layer. And that's so true because there was,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I can stand here today and teach people that, not teach, guide, help them to remember. That's what I believe. I walk side by side. I'm not some guru or anything like that. Just
Yes.
here on the journey like everybody else. But
Yes.
I have this absolute confidence, and now everything turns around. Like it appears to be like it was this one moment and everything comes like from heaven, but it
Mm.
wasn't. It was 1,000 moments that got me to this moment
Yes.
where I really enjoy this. And honestly, every level comes another devil, right?
Yeah.
So but I have the tools. I know that this is gonna work out. I'm trying to say when like when you have this certainty, like someone asked me, so what are you doing in 2 weeks? Because I'm here now, looking after who's just needing a little bit of carrots right now.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I don't know yet, but I'm so chill, not because I sit here on the couch, but I know my action bring exactly what I'm relaxed. The more
Yeah.
you are relaxed, the more opportunities you will attract.
Yes. I love that. That's so true. And the more that you lean into the opportunities, the resources, the more you lean into just knowing that what is meant for you is going to open up for you, and not
Mm-hmm.
stressing about pushing things, not trying to force yourself to be in the right place at the right time. Like wherever you are is exactly where you're meant to be. And you're meant to
Absolutely.
get whatever you are out of that moment. So I love that. I've also been in a very I don't know if non-committal is the right word, but I haven't wanted to commit to a lot of stuff lately that's been a couple weeks out because I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it at that time. I'll let you know. I'll let you know the day of, like I've just been flowing with that more and seeing what I'm feeling drawn to rather than, because girl, I used to be like a super planner. I would book out everything and I'd be booked every single day for the next month. And then I would end up just draining myself and question why I'm here. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why am I doing these things that I didn't want to be doing? And I said yes to that I didn't really feel aligned with. And so now I'm so much more intentional about those things. But you're right. It's calming your nervous system down and not feeling like you have to be in a certain place at a certain time for whatever it is and just going with it. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Honoring that, and I had to learn that too because as much as I'm an adventurer, and people would think I'm very much going with the flow, which I. However, there are certain things I planned. For example, we planned this call for 3 weeks ago,
Yes.
and and I'm committed to that, even though there were lots of things. I was extremely tired today, had lots of stuff going on, but I was committed to that, and there was no way from. That's what I'm doing. But what I've also learned, and it suits my energy system, which I found out through human design. What I learned about myself is I used to think I want when somebody asked me, for example, oh, do you want to go there? And then I thought I have to respond right away. But
Mm-hmm.
now things when I have time,
Yes.
luxury. 24 hours response. I'm gonna actually sleep over it because my system needs to integrate. And also because I'm, still recovering people pleaser, that I need to wake up because it could be the next day. Oh, no, no, no! What was I thinking? Or could be the Yeah, fuck yes. Going.
Yeah.
And for me, it's body, fuck yes. Say it like
Mhm.
that. Feel for me. Anything else, I don't do anymore because it's not.
Yeah.
I need this 100%, and that also is as my design. What would bring out the best within
Yeah.
me, and there the people around me as well, and that's right. So,
Yeah. What are you in human design?
like I'm a manifesting generator.
Okay, I'm a projector. I was curious.
So like my best friend Sarah, like yeah, she's a projector too. So I understand your system. I
Yeah,
learn how to yeah. It's good to understand other, how they work, how they process energy, and how
yeah,
much energy. I
it
have.
is.
Plus, I have so much fire in my chart that
Mm-hmm.
I can go, 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 and I'm
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
fast. So, but I have to learn, and that's one of my challenges that because nothing is wrong or right, good or bad. It's
Right,
just
right. Yeah.
to give others time to
Mm-hmm.
respond and catch up,
Yeah.
and to be okay. Sometimes I felt, oh no, they don't answer, not fast enough. Is it not good enough? But to really
Yeah.
understand that, interesting. And for me, to down a little, be like, hey, like breathe, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing is urgent, right? And I like when you said you were a retired people pleaser, reformed people pleaser. Girl, we all are. We are all still trying to decondition ourselves to the people pleasing. So that's the same.
Yeah.
Like someone just asked me if I want to do something the other day, and I was like, feel like I should say yes. And I was like, but I don't want to. No.
Yeah.
Why am I feeling, pressured to do that? So to all of our listeners, you have permission to say no. It is okay.
It's
Yes.
declaration of self-love.
Yes,
It's,
it
it's, it's
is.
not, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And when you say no to the things that are not aligned, even more things that are aligned with you open up. Like when you say no to being in the place that you're not supposed to be in, you're saying yes to the places that you are supposed to be in. So I love that.
100%. And that's another energy hack, which I wanted to mention, which I realized, through my as well, the deep transformation that first it's all the big stuff, right? That you get go and all that, and later on it's all the subtle stuff. It gets very sneaky,
It,
very sneaky.
it does.
Ripple effect, like even like the things when you want to be my clients, or I would overgive with my offers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Overgive, undersell myself, which is
Yes.
very sneaky. It looks from the outside as a intention, but
Yeah.
it's of this service, not just to myself, but to
Mhm.
my clients who I work with and humanity at large. It always has a ripple effect.
Yes.
When we give ourselves permission to step into our raw, authentic, beautiful, wild self,
Mm-hmm.
we give permission too, right? And that's why I love your mission. I have to connect with you. The moment I saw it was wild for me anyways. There was some wild stuff on Facebook going on, like things coming through. And then I saw your picture. I was like, yep, I need to connect with her.
Mm.
And I messaged you, and then it happened. And look at you, and I love absolutely what you do. And I want to that also for the listeners. You gave me permission because I was on this journey already. It was like, bubbling beneath the surface, like to really speak up about the taboo stuff because that's what I'm here for too. And
Mhm.
when one of your episodes, I was kind of talking freely about your nature, sexual desires, all that stuff. I was like, yep, that's my vibe, that's my, and that activated so much within me. So I wanted to really thank you for that. I was like feeling home. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
man, got this.
I love that. And thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for listening to the other episodes. But I'm so
Of
happy
course.
that, yeah, and I am so happy that that activated something within you and gave you more permission in that. And girl, I'm here for all the taboo stuff. Like we need to own our sexuality, our sexual energy, our bodies, what we're giving our energy to. So I love all of that. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
the celibacy, right? That's one thing, but I wanted to go into. I know we talked about that before when and thank you for honoring that. It was definitely not the celibacy, but general being here in Spain and choosing not the distractions of trying to be in the middle of people, trying to go out self dancing, doing things like that, whatever. I have always been niche anyway. I don't drink. Always very much about body, spirituality, and with from the boxing, I was very disciplined in that way. However,
Yeah.
think that path, and of course, what it led me was going into, because usually, it's easy distracted. Yeah, I was on some online dating apps. First and foremost, to actually connect, because when I was off grid, there was no soul. Right? I mean, I can date some trees and whatnot. I hug them, but you know,
Those
there was
trees
less.
might be more masculine than the men you're meeting now, though. So
Oh, and they're tall. They're very tall, by the way.
they're tall, they're
So,
sturdy, they're reliable.
yeah, they're so good, so nice to hug. But what it led me was to actually stay away from distraction too. Of course, I had my adventure here and there, but it was like going into celibacy. And I know we spoke about that offline. That was a game changer for me, because that
Mhm.
led me on to really go deep. That gave me so much creational energy.
Yeah.
Hence, I will create a lot of content, do so much for my clients, so many resources, and
Yes.
really and did a lot of. I love writing in general way since
Yeah.
forever. Going really into that space, and I like, wow, I have so much creative energy. So
Yeah.
I know you are past too with the CPA.
Yeah, yeah. No, the celibacy has been huge in that creative energy, and being able to like kind of recharge my energy reserves, and also um, like cognitively, my energy is not going to the thoughts of those men or that date or how I'm spending my time with it, right? Like I'm not thinking about any of that right now. So all of my energy is wrapped up in my business, the mission, other women, like my friendships with incredible women and the community that we're creating. And so it's not like I feel like there's even anything missing. It doesn't feel like it's empty. I feel so fulfilled in all of my relationships, and I'm not absorbed in all of the all the chaos of dating. So
Yeah,
I'd rather spend time with the trees.
yeah. I mean, I've always loved and preferred, but it deserved that. Even when I was messaging or texting, guys,
Yeah, yeah,
feel like I could feel like how I was distracted to some take away energy. Wasn't even perfect, wasn't even energizing me. And that was another test that was just like
yes,
for me to clear this. That was just my ego. That was coming from a wounded place. The wounded
yes,
place was keep this old story alive. I
yeah,
have to connect. I completely needed everything. I was happy to do that. And I was like, you know what? So spend
yeah.
time
I
off,
feel
and
like
that
that is a massive shift. So going from wanting that validation, wanting the attention, wanting that connection from the dating apps, from men, from the messaging, versus deciding that this isn't energizing me, this isn't bringing me value, and cutting that off to the point where now you have so much more creative energy to put into everything that you're doing. It's just, and it's like you said, it was out of that wounded ego, right? Like I would go back to those things, I would go back to the messaging, I would go back to the apps and stuff so that I could get that validation. And now that's not a need of mine. Like I validate myself through what I'm doing, and if I want to date at some point, I can, but it's not like it's something that I need for my ego or, to make myself feel better. So that is the massive shift right there.
and I love it. Love it. I love living my life. And of course, then from that you actually attract that, and that you want to
Yeah.
choose, you want to build. Like I personally, I want to be with my soulmate, with my
Yes.
man, that I can build with, and who want to get the lifestyle that I love to create right now,
Yeah.
and are empowered, and you're so full and whole with it. You
Hmm.
naturally one. You can actually choose, and you choose one that will help you to elevate and is aligning with your.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Gorgeous goddess. All right, we are going to wrap up. Thank you for sharing all of your incredible insight and your perspectives and your beautiful energy.
Thank
You are so
you.
connected with that. Yes. Go ahead and tell our listeners where they can find you.
Oh, they can find me on Instagram, Mia_Dins at Instagram. And then also they can find me on TikTok, Facebook. I will leave all the links with you and my website, luna-mia.org, but mainly Instagram. And then I will be connecting with whoever is interested in messaging me. Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. Yep. I will put all of the links in the show notes. Thank you again. This was such a gorgeous episode. I feel like I have like such a nice energy boost for the day now.
Thank
Yes. I know, like I'm ready to go and do stuff.
Yes, let's go.
Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. And as always, like, share, save this episode, and share it with any women in your life who you feel would truly resonate with this message. So I will see you all next week.
Bye.